Hello, hello. Welcome on into another episode of the Whiskey Crusaders. I'm Will.
I'm Sarah.
No, I'm Matt.
Today we're sipping on a Ben Halladay product. This is a bottled and bond 6-year-old Missouri bourbon whiskey.
Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and click that notification bell. Matt, tell us a little bit about this particular bottle
All
that
right.
you know
So
that I've
this-
heard of.
Cool. Ben Halladay. Like I said, this is a 6-year Missouri straight bourbon. It's a bottle and bond product. It's got a stagecoach on it. I think that's pretty cool. I saw it as I must have stagecoach bottle because why not? That's really cool. So the cool thing is the history of these guys. So back in 1804, Lewis and Clark, those famous duos there, decided to pass through this area back in Missouri, and they discovered there was a limestone spring on that property. Well, that's cool. So they put it on the map when they wrote it down when they walked through the area. So then 1837, a town started there called Weston. So yes, it's the furthest trading post west is why it's called Weston. It's a little town of 300 people. They had the second best port on the Missouri River at the time, even bigger than Kansas City and St. Joseph. So pretty big deal back in the day. So nice for them. So at that point in time, back in 1849, these two brothers, Ben and David Holladay, came through. They'd moved there when they were 15 to this area. Had moved there from Kentucky. Said, you know what? We know nothing about water. We should. And there was a meat packing plant there. So you know what? Meat packing's nice and all, but what's better? Let's make whiskey, especially bourbon. So there was one building there. They converted that to a distillery called the Blue Springs Distillery, and there was a cave. So now they're going to age their whiskey in the cave. So they aged it for a year and released the first bottle in 1857, which I know at the time was old whiskey for a year old at that point. Most of the time it was clear. So they sold for 35 cents a gallon. I want some of that 35 cents a gallon whiskey. That's crazy cheap. But, hey, back in the day.
I don't know that you want 35 cents a gallon whiskey.
No.
Clear.
But, it's all good. So apparently it was pretty good. So at that point, Ben decided to sell his entire share to his brother. He was a very entrepreneurial guy, so he decided to start the Overland Express stagecoach line, which eventually sold to Wells Fargo. Those guys might know a little bit. He also then went on to own railroads, steamships. He had hotels, saloons, this whole thing called the Pony Express. So by this point, by 1864, he was the largest individual employer in the entire United States. Also friends with Abraham Lincoln and Brigham Young. So he might know something about making money, just a wee bit. So it stayed in the family up to 1900, which was then eventually sold over to a guy named Shawhan when his distillery burned to the ground. So, that happens. So then he eventually also sold it on a few years later. By 1942, it became the McCormick distillery. When theirs burned down, they bought the rights to that one. So, unfortunately, there's a problem with distilleries is they seem to burn down a lot. So, it's really crappy. Yeah. Then by 1950, this place, now they put MGP in the notes, but we all know MGP didn't start until 2011. MGP was called this place called Seagram's. Bought this, and so they started producing more things. Now, the reason they wanted it was because they wanted to produce tons of not just only whiskey, but grain alcohol because of the Korean War. So they had huge rickhouses that were just empty, hanging out. So that's what they were doing with it. So it's all that good fun stuff. And it was sold one more time. And then, of course, they had a nice fire in 1957 and it burned to the ground.
OMG.
So lovely. So they had to rebuild again. By 1974, it's a National Register of Historic Places. By 1985, of course, the bourbon doldrums have started. So they stopped producing whiskey. We're only doing cheap, vodkas and gins at this point in time. So it hung around until 1993, sold to another group who closed it to the public in 95 until 2015, 30 years later, said, maybe we should make bourbon again. And so then they waited. So they put their first bourbon out this past year in 2022. Waited 6 years to put the first bourbon out because I was like, we're going to do a really good job, make a premium bourbon and do a good job at it. So I'll give them a lot of credit. So they finally reopened the public tours back in 2016. So what you care is now, what's in the bottle? Let's go with what that is. Like I said, once it's in, it's 50%. It's ball and bond, as we all know. That has to be like government, even says government supervision on the bottle. Isn't that cool? I just want to let you know that in a government bonded warehouse, which means it's on your property, and the government comes and looks at it. At least 4 years old, one distiller, one season, all that good fun stuff. Now, now the cool thing about this is they tell you on the bottle where this was done in fall 2016, bottled November 14, 2022. And they even tell you also on here all the different floors that it's on, which is cool. So this one is 14% floor 5, warehouse C, 24% floor 3, and 6% floor 2. So apparently there's a swing between the floors of 30 degrees from the top to bottom. That's a huge swing. So it can make quite a big difference. They said this is the same master they used 160 years ago, but it's undisclosed. Like, all right, well, super, thanks for that. So, they said, now this is a true Missouri bourbon because back in 2019, they passed that it had to be made out of white oak barrels made from Missouri. So they're using Missouri white oak rather than other stuff, so, like Arkansas or some other, or Minnesota or whatever. And also the corn starting in 20 has to come from Missouri. So they have very, very strict standards for their bourbon to become a bourbon in Missouri, but a real Missouri bourbon. And this does fit those categories.
Missouri.
And this is a level 3 char, non-chill filtered. So all the good things we all like to hear. So let's see what we think of this bourbon. That's what really matters.
Bottled and bond, we know it has to be one distiller, one season,
right,
etc. There's multiple floors in this warehouse. Does that matter to the bottle and
that
bond?
doesn't matter as far as the floor.
Stay on that floor.
Yeah, as long as those floors are monitored by the government, they don't care.
Yeah,
that's what I figured, but questions.
Yeah, so as long as it's all in the same warehouse and they're all checking it out, you're good.
I remember when I first learned what bottled and bond one is in the picture that I had in my head.
No, I thought they trucked it off the warehouse, but it was not
guarding these barrels.
Right? That's what we all thought.
People did the
not
government
what happens, apparently.
Guard the barrels for a whole season.
Right.
Exactly. Well, and some of them steal from them, like a guy named Fitzgerald that used to do that.
Right?
So as far as what's in the glass, this smells like yellow dent corn to me. This smells like a nice Kentucky bourbon. It smells clean. It smells
It's not far. I think it's like 576 miles from most major Kentucky distilleries. So same climate. So it gets a little bit warmer there and a little bit less cold. So it's similar.
A little bit less cold.
Which for us, this means it's fucking cold.
You get that hay, that dry hay, varnish, leather,
cigar
wrapper, tobacco, ashy,
and then that dusty corn kind of plays in. There's more apple on this than there is cherry, but the cherry is present as well. But to me, this is much more red apple.
Yeah, I get lots of nice peaches and cream, along with some lavender and cherry, a little vanilla custard, some heather, rose water, barrel char, oak honey, a little cinnamon, black pepper. It smells really nice to me.
I think a lot going on in that glass. I
don't know if I've had any other Missouri bottled and bonds that I'm aware of. Do you guys? I don't know what other whiskeys have we had from Missouri?
Not many.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head what the hell that would even be. Maybe one or two others, but I don't know what they are. If somebody can put that in the comments below, what other ones there are, that'd be great because we can maybe check them out, or maybe we have that and just don't realize it.
It smells like a classic bourbon. It smells like
really good.
It smells really good.
My proof is going to be 100.
Yeah.
You said my age was 6. What's my price point?
60.
Okay. I'm not.
Yeah, so I'm not sad about that. So they waited, like they purposely held this whiskey to not put out till it was 6 years old. That's a long time to wait as an investor.
And then to only ask, $10 a year is really not.
Yeah, it's not bad. I think it's bad at all.
Let's see.
It's really good.
It's really fruity.
Yeah, I like grapefruits and grape nuts.
Yeah.
Berry and vanilla. Rose water, allspice,
peaches and cream comes out a lot on the palate.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a whole lot for bourbons that I get that peaches and cream on. Like I'm thinking peaches and cream oatmeal.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's super. Yeah.
I'm getting like grape and apple. I'm getting like the grapple kind of quality to the flavoring.
Mm-hmm.
I am getting like an oatmeal, but I'm not picking up the peaches and cream. I am
peaches and cream oatmeal.
Yes, I am picking up a nice fruitiness from this.
That's
it's much more into the bourbon categories of fruity.
Yeah,
molasses, those little almond chews, caramel, butterscotch, toffee,
vanilla. Yep,
it's really good.
But it's got that corniness to it, but it's not overly corny. The hay, the barnyard, and it's good.
Yeah, it's got a nice viscosity to it. It's nice and oily.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like nice saltiness and black pepper on the finish. It's really good. I think that's probably the best new bourbon I've tried in a long time. That from a distillery I never heard of or knew anything about.
You're saying black pepper. I'm not picking up what I would consider any of my rye spices.
Mm-hmm.
Are you because
Not so much rye, just black pepper, not rye per se.
Okay.
I get what you're saying on the finish. It's got a little bit of a.
Got some nice heat to it and a lot of cinnamon too.
Yeah.
See, to me this feels more like a wheater. This feels more like a red winter wheat with corn.
Well, there's a different product they offer that is a red winter. I know this is a corn rye malted barley. I just don't know, but they also offer apparently we don't have it here.
Okay.
A wheated version. So,
But we can get this one in Texas.
This one's here in Texas now. But I mean, I wouldn't be opposed if to try the other one. We just can't get it here. So I mean, if someone wants to send it to us, that'd be great. I'd love to try it. This is really, like I said, this is probably the best new bourbon I tried this year. For a new into the market, I mean, this is awesome. This is really good stuff.
This is really good.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they took their time.
Yeah,
and did it right.
Yeah,
their product to be correct.
So far for the year, yeah, this is best new bourbon of the year for me.
I gotta say, I'm kind of like that's the closest bottle date to my birthday that I've ever seen. So,
see, there you go. Yeah, and apparently they release every year, which is kind of cool. At the distillery, every release of this, they put out a cask strength version too. Obviously, it's not Bourbon, but the one that came out with this was 116.5 and sold in hours. They said distillery only product. But if you do happen to be there when they put it out, lucky you. I'm sure it's amazing.
Right.
I'd love to try this at 116.5. But that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, this what it is. The proof is perfect.
Oh yeah, it's great.
It is for what you get on the shelf. But yeah, I'd love to.
And for the price point.
And for a price point, I'd love to try a cask strength. Yeah, of course, sure. I'd love to try a cask strength of everything. So,
of course.
Who am I? I'm Sarah. 534. All right, this is good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully, I don't know what the distribution is like, but hopefully it's rather large, rather quickly for people and give the stuff for also is really good bourbon.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Hopefully they have some advertising behind it, so it can actually move off the shelves too, because this is quite tasty.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. All right.
All right.
Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and click that notification bell. Come hang out with us live on Monday nights and check out the Patreon for more behind the scenes fun. And until next time,
keep on crusading for better whiskey in your glass. Cheers.
Nothing for the dump glass on that one.